Back at you again. HWD Atmosphere and A. Thomas. We got another one for you. It's the attitude. I mean, the videos will always continue to flow because any information that I pull is from powerhouses. Any information that I pull is from people that are going to that top level. Any information that I pull is somebody who's got their act together. Now remember, not perfect. There are no perfect people, but they got their act together. If somebody's got a pretty good relationship or a great relationship, that's good stuff. I think it's good stuff to pass it on to somebody else. If somebody's doing real well with the finances, millionaire, billionaire, debt-free, and able to attain that and keep that, maintain that, sustain that, remember, no better than anybody else, but in money, doing very, very, very well, as Dave Severin says. If somebody has their spiritual life, which I believe is much more important than the first two, well, relationships are important, but much more important than the money. The spiritual life, you're moving on from exterior to interior, and you're moving on from the seen to the unseen. I believe that that's power. And if somebody has contributions and doing it in a fashion like an Anthony Robbins, or doing it in a fashion like an Oprah, or just an Eleanor Roosevelt, with knowledge, with money, with time, with the spirit world, who's able to transfer what they have to give to somebody else. If somebody's doing that very, very, very well, I believe that that's important, and lock onto that and latch onto that, and more importantly, learn from that and do that. In my opinion, everybody's going to do what they're going to do, and and if somebody has a great workout regimen, which I need a lot of work there, but I think if we can agree what our weaknesses are, then we can certainly move on. If we can't agree what our weaknesses are, if we're not honest about where we're at, then where we want to project, where we want to go, makes it much more difficult. Be honest where you're at. Don't paint it worse than what it is. That I learned from the beautiful Anthony Robbins. But just be honest to whatever it is area you're at. Like if your car is broken, and you just say, my car's not broken, my car's not broken, my car's not broken, and that's the way you're going to fix it, and that's the way you're going to deal with it. That is one way to deal with it, but it's not going to work. But if your car is broken and you acknowledge it, then bottom line most times is just get the money to fix it, and have somebody who's a good mechanic, which I got a good mechanic, and I'm always going to plug these people because they're not perfect, but they're great. If you have any problem and you live in Tucson, turn 4, Junior and Senior will take care of you. Alan Jr., Alan Senior will take care of you. Junior's fantastic. Senior's fantastic. Turn 4 in Tucson, Arizona. Just go take your car there. Just try to have your car dragged there, have it towed there like I've done. That's the only place I'm going to take my cars. Not perfect, but these gentlemen and this family is extraordinary. They have lots of knowledge and they do great. So I think I've said it a couple times, and I'm going to say it again. Turn 4. If you have any automotive needs and automotive problems, they'll take care of you. Turn 4, Tucson, Arizona. Again, did I say that already? Oh, yeah. Turn 4 in Tucson, Arizona. Go take your car there. Okay, so that's just a little bit of the my thoughts, but let's break this out because we want to give you guys something instead of just jaw-jacking, which I probably do a little bit too much of. But hopefully, if we can help one person, we want to help all 7 billion people plus, help everybody in the world. But if one person can get something out of this, it was worth it. This is A. Thomas here, HWD. Let's move. The attitude. Okay, attitude. Here's a definition from the knowledge folks here. A settled way of thinking about someone or something, typically one that is reflected in a person's behavior. Do that again. A settled way of thinking about someone or something, typically that is reflected in a person's behavior. One more time. Attitude, a settled way of thinking about someone or something, typically one that is reflected in one's person. Jesus, can't even read this thing. Let me start it again. Attitude, a settled way of thinking about someone or something, typically one that is reflected in a person's behavior. So you're talking about someone or something, and it gets into their behavior. That's the attitude. So that's one definition. From top people, I notice it's not just the ways of thinking, but getting into that last part, their behavior. Very, very important. You can be positive and like a clown like a monkey at a fair, and wanting to make people happy and jump and smile, which is great. Not that people are monkeys, but just being fired up. Yeah, I'm fired up, and yeah, this is great. I think that's great. But I learned from another successful person named Dave Severn. You don't want to be a good attitude bum. You don't want to be a good attitude bum. So what does that mean? Well, let's say you're one of your goals is to get a new house, and I'm fired up. I want to get a new house, and you talk to the builders, and you get your finance together. You're getting ready to write your check, or you get all the you're just you're so excited about it, and you talk about it, and you write it down, and you do all the necessary to think about it, talk about it, speak about it, your goals. You got it on your vision board. You got it on your computer. All this, and you're always yeah, great, which I have done many a times. But now, after all of the enthusiasm, as the great Jim Rome says, after you've all about jumped about, there are some things you got to do physically. You got to do. Now, what do you got to do as far as if you're going to buy a house? Well, I haven't bought my first house yet. I will, but I haven't done yet, and I'm getting going to that direction. I don't have it done yet, but I will have it done this. I will have it done 2023 by the beginning of 2023 is the goal. Okay, so I've got some work to do. Nothing that can't be done. It won't be. I heard about there was this house that in LA. Awesome. I mean, again, that's the mind again going at something like that. I think you should get anything that the mind can conceive, believe you can achieve, but you gotta do the work. You got to do the behavior. You got to do the actions. Without the actions, nothing happens. But I think it's like almost $300 million. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. $300 million house. Now, is that really my big goal? No, I mean, that's maybe a far out goal that's crazy, but hey, man, it's not something that I worry about and wonder about. But again, my crazy mind is saying $300 million. You guys can check it out up online. I think it's one of the most, if not the most expensive house in the country, probably got to be one of the most expensive houses in the world. $300 million house. You can check it out online and just type it in. It's in LA. It's quite a house. It's got movie theaters and bowling alleys, and I think the master bedroom. This is just going to expand your mind. Some people think they have amazing houses, and they do. But compared to this thing, as far as just physicalness, they don't have shit. So that's why people need to be humble. There's always somebody who can tap that ass. I think, get a load of this. The master bedroom is 5,000 square feet. Did you hear what I said? The master bedroom is 5,000 square feet. That master bedroom is bigger than most houses on the planet. So again, having that house doesn't mean anything. I just think it's kind of cool. Just want to share that with you. But anyway, getting to the attitude. You can get all happy and get all fired up, but if you don't do anything, it obviously, as we all know, so it takes the action. Anything we know takes the action. You've got to, Dave Severn says, don't be a good attitude bum. Being a good attitude bum would mean writing it down, which is a little bit of action, getting fired up. Hey, I'm going to do this, celebrating it, telling people, hey, you're just using the verbal, the jaw jacking. But when it comes to the action, when it becomes to saving the amount of money, when it becomes to making that extra amount of money, when it becomes to writing that check or getting your loan or talking to the banks and getting everything, having all the logistics, all of the title searches and all the stuff that you have to do to get a home. If those actions aren't done, are you really ever going to have the home? Well, we all know the answer is no. So getting fired up is great. Writing the stuff down, that's a little bit of action. Telling this person, telling that person, getting all excited, and that's great. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think it's needed. Some people don't even do it. But just like the Nike commercial, just do it. But in the end, after you've jumped all about, there are actions that you have to do. So if you don't do the actions, everything else we all know it's not going to come to pass. So having a good attitude, in a nutshell, is also, and most importantly, the actions. In other words, if you don't even get all fired up and do all those things superficially, but just go ahead and do it, to me, that's a good attitude. A good attitude is, to me, is taking care of your body physically. A good attitude to me is taking care of your finances physically. A good attitude to me is not just saying you're going to be nice and cool and fair with people, but doing it, being nice and just and kind to people, doing it. So without the action, and you can get all, the face and the high fives, and you're putting it online, and letting everybody know, and pontificating and doing all these wonderful, great, cool things. But if you leave out the action, you don't have a good attitude. If you don't follow up and follow through, your attitude is weak. Okay? Gotta have action, action, action. In fact, anything and everything we do, if there's no action, it doesn't happen. So that's the big thing on the attitude. The attitude is, if you are going to go on a trip and you plan it all out and you get all excited, you tell everybody about it, and you download it and put it on Facebook and Instagram and all these social medias, the whole world knows about it. But if you don't do it, bad attitude. If you say you're going to help somebody out, and you tell everybody that you're the man, you're the woman, and all this great stuff, and you're going to be like the Rockefellers and Oprahs of giving, and you don't have to do this, but if you say all these things and indicate that you're going to do it, and you don't do it, bad attitude. If you are going to have a new workout regimen, and you're all excited about it, you tell everybody about it, and again, you do the same old thing, but if you don't get out there early on Monday morning or whatever you commence to do this, and don't run that track and lift those weights and do those stretches, and get that coach and get that trainer or whatever the regiment thing consists of, if you set it all up and people say, you got to plan this, plan that, planning is great, but the plan without the actual physical inertia, physical doing something, it's not going to work. So attitude, get fired up. It's awesome. All that thing is fantastic. I love all that stuff. I'm kind of one of the gregarious types of people, but you have to do the action. It's just part of it. It's just like if you're, well, maybe I shouldn't say that one, but if you're going to make love to a woman or a guy, you're going to say all this stuff and this and that, but the physical act isn't done. Get a little crude here, but it is what it is. But if you don't consummate it and physically do it, it's just a lot of hot air. So that's it. This is A. Thomas, HWD. Make it a fantastic day. Remember, you're amazing. You're capable. Nobody's better than you. People just are a little bit further along than you in certain areas, different levels. You can do it too. You can even pass them up. But as we all know, you got to do the work. Got to put the work in. Make it a great day. It's A. Thomas. You guys are champions.